All right, guys. What is going on? What is good? What is good, chat? Hope you guys are ready to learn something today. I have a special guest with me. Captain Hindsight has joined us today. You know what I mean? So that's who will be leading today's stream. All right. You gotta love it, dude. You gots to love it, chat. Maybe we should have a moment of silence for anybody who shorted this week. You think? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is we have talked about some price levels. last week as well as this week. For NQ, we have talked about ES as well. Down, not so much. Not really. Yeah, not really. The main focus was ES and NQ. Has it not been? Have we not live streamed the last couple days? So I don't know. I don't know. My memory ain't what it used to be, chat. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's a different air up here, isn't it? It's a different type of air up here, isn't it, chat? All right. What's good? Marshall, Jorks, Kobe, Mark. Good morning, Mr. Market Wizard. Hey, thanks, bro. Market did exactly what you said it would yesterday. Amazing. Yeah, well, that's what you're learning how to do. For free, if I must say. That's exactly what you're learning how to do. What's good? Eberneth, Adam, Sean, 2020, and Torty. And Torty. Oh. There's a dual stream button. It says automatically generate a vertical cropped version for the shorts feed. Ooh, I might have to try that one day. I might have to try that. We'll see. What's good, Julius? Man, we don't got a lot of people on here today. What's going on? We've been losing viewers, we've been losing members. Even though we still been winning, dog. That's crazy. I don't know. That's weird. That is weird to me. But as with the markets, things fluctuate. Things do. Oh, they probably mad at the Top Step tomfoolery. Dude, Top Step stays having tomfoolery, man. Like, that's not even a joke anymore. They stay having some bullshit. They really do. They stay on some bullshit. But, you know, what can you do? Prop firm chats and social was hot today. What happened? I mean, clearly I missed whatever is taking place. Does somebody want to catch me up? 70 million people travel for Thanksgiving this holiday, so that's why numbers are down. I mean, everyone still has internet connections. But maybe. I don't know. Things usually fluctuate around this time. Around, like, end of November, especially December. That's right. That's when I'm dropping all the juice. Well, more. Dropping more sauce when there's less people. So that way you get punished for leaving. How about that? Might be a good topic to talk about. Stay out when the unexpected happens. Especially with props. Well, yeah. Yeah. You never really know with some of these companies, man. You never really know. But when you have your own money, when you have your own accounts through regulated brokers, you don't really worry about it all that much. But a lot of these props are, you know, the rules are changing. Things are constantly changing with the prop industry. So you never really know. You know, and it's no shade, but like none of them can get it right. None of them can get it right. You have problems like all the time. all the fucking time you have these issues. And most of it's like a platform thing, right? Most of it's platform issues. Y'all remember a couple weeks ago they had indices, and then they like gapped and printed some weird ass candle up here and then came back down again. It's like, how do you keep having these issues? I don't know, man. I don't know. All the regulated brokers never have problems, but the props do. Makes no sense. That's why my tinfoil hat theory is they make issues on purpose to keep people talking about it for free marketing. That's what I think it is. I think it's just drama for free marketing. It's the same shit with Hollywood. Y'all ever notice that? Rappers get into a beef and then all of a sudden they both drop an album. It's all engineered, bro. Price is engineered. Your favorite rapper is engineered. Your favorite Hollywood star is engineered. Your food is engineered. Your music is engineered. It's all engineered, man. It's all controlled. It's all manipulated. It's all bullshit. So Santa ain't real, folks. Get with the program. We'll go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off early. So you can think clearly in 2026. How about that? Anyway, you guys aren't here for my bullshit. You're here for the good stuff. So, in short, I told you so. There, the stream's done. Can all go home, right? These highs here, we talked about that the last couple of days. That got blasted overnight. Our equities open. We opened above that, traded into our opening range gap, and then continued higher. Not a surprise, given that I told you as well, this gap up here, I don't think we've met that. I don't think we've met that, but that is, you know, one more thing that we've discussed. Well, the truth may set you free, Mason. So, sorry. Santa ain't real. But you know what is real? Liquidity, inefficiency, the engineering of price delivery. That's what's real. That is more exciting than Santa, because price delivers every day. Santa delivers once a year. So, interesting. NQ in electronic hours, right? That 25,361 and a quarter that was mentioned yesterday and Monday. That was also mentioned in the market review. Here's another I told you so. Bang. Right there. Look at that shit. Look at that stuff. It's so hard, John. Trading is so hard. It's so difficult. No one ever knows. You're right. Nobody ever knows. Y'all ever read now I can't remember. It was Greek mythology. Were y'all ever forced to read Greek mythology in high school? And there was a Cyclops, and he asked the Cyclops had asked the guy, like, "Oh, what is your name?" And he was like, "Nobody." And then he like stabs the Cyclops in the eye, blinds him, and then so someone else comes up and they were like, "Yo, Cyclops, who blinded you?" And he was like, "Nobody blinded me." Right? Nobody can predict markets. I guess my name is nobody, right? So, I know. You're so egotistical, John. Gosh, it's fucking annoying. Well, anyways, all of these lows down here from like the pre-market got creamed. Okay, our low of the day is at 9 o'clock. Random, unstructured, nobody ever knows, right? Interesting. Low of the day at 9 a.m. Okay, that would be our 9 o'clock macro for those that don't get it. 9 o'clock macro. Does trade a little bit lower. Doesn't make a lower low. We rally up. Retracement. Rallied through these up candles here. Remember that? Remember we talked about this earlier this week. When we have a bunch of lows that get wrecked, okay, what manipulates typically what mitigates, and then randomly and unstructured and chaotic there happens to be a suspension block right in the middle. Suspension block right there. Price trades into it here at 10:01. Random time again. And then 10:02. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. The air is different when you're in space. We just keep blasting off too much, bro. Not used to it. Right? Not used to this air at above the atmosphere. Retracement, rally, retracement, imbalance, and then our run at 10:40 or 10:41. So we do not get the buy side liquidity met during the macro. That's fine. I don't care about that. But what I do care about is everything I just told you. So macros that don't exist, creating the low of the day. Macros that don't exist, delivering price higher to where I told you yesterday and the day before. Right? Come on. The stuff doesn't exist, right? But there it is. It's fucking crazy. Absolutely crazy. What's good, Sergio? So yeah, I mean, this again, this to me is just, it's so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like when you put together a Christmas tree and you put the ornaments on it, you put the lights on it, maybe you put a angel or some shit on top, and then you go plug it in to the wall, and then you turn on the lights, you turn off the lights in the house, and you turn on the Christmas tree, right? And then it's like, bang. Oh, it's beautiful, right? That's what that is. That is a Christmas tree right here. There's your stump at the bottom with the yeah, that's where the presents are. And then all your branches and stuff all the way up. It's too clean. It's too clean, chat. Macro sweeping lows for people who didn't take profits at the target too. Right here. Yeah, 1209. Strange time, isn't it? That's crazy how that works, Jordan. It's crazy how that keeps working. It'd be one thing if it worked like once in a while. But the fact that it continues to do that and people say still that these macros don't exist is fucking wild. It's just so wild to me. It's all right. It's all right. Everybody knows enough. Everybody knows everything. So, there is that. Personally, the ES market I thought was a little bit weirder. And yeah. My buddy sent me a chart, and he was trading the 2-minute. I haven't done that in a while. And he was trading right in here. I think he had longed right after these lows in here, which was good. But you know what, though? I will tell you, I like NQ more than ES because ES had already met its higher time frame target. NQ hadn't done that yet. And I would have trusted that more than ES. But ES, I still don't think is done because, again, what was it? The 1 hour imbalance is up here. So I think what the market is doing is trying to get people to short. And I think it's going to blast, right? Taco Bell, Baja, blast higher. That's what I think is going to happen. But as always, I could be wrong. There's always that chance that I could be wrong, chat. That orange box would have been your entry for a long. Fernando, you got to show up on time, buddy boy. You got to show up on time. Orange is a mitigation. Blue, the blue always represents a suspension block. I have a video on that. It's very short, sweet, and to the point. For this example, it's very similar to an imbalance. It's just that the difference is the suspension block has a gap at the low end and a gap at the high end. So you see how this gap's higher? And this one, like the close of the candle, and then the next candle gaps higher. When you have gaps like that, that's a suspension block. So why not this one down here, John? Because again, every concept has a premium and discount. That one is at the discount end. And if we're bullish, we shouldn't trade to that. So the orange box can be an entry. The blue box just gives you a little bit of a better entry. So hopefully that answers your question. Same idea on NQ with ES. I don't think we're done. I think the market's trying to pull shorts in. I would not short this market. I think it's going to continue to rip ass higher. So we'll see. We'll see if it does that. I did mark this as a potential mitigation. What I'm looking at is what we do here, but also looking at that speed as well. Because you guys know that manipulation is usually fast and it's violent. And that sweep below the lows, it met like this right here, right there. So yeah, to me, it just seems like it wants to go up there. But if it does not, we'll go back in the range and that's it. Dollar's a little bit lower as well. See that? With the dollar, what we talked about. We talk about this all the time. Jordan brought it up yesterday. If the dollar, here's like 830 right here. If the dollar goes lower, okay? If it goes lower, we can anticipate if the indices are set to go higher, meaning they have a target, they have something on the higher time frame, it has something to reach for on the upside, that will add confluence. You see that? You see that another down day on dollar post turtle soup is another up day for indices post Fatful Friday's low, post September, one of those gaps from September, and then aiming for the internal range liquidity. You see how that works? Then we say yesterday on Tuesday, open, low, and then expansion higher. Didn't we talk about that yesterday? Right. That's called foresight. That's called predicting. That's not reacting. That's predicting. That's telling you what is likely to happen before it happens. Okay. So if you think you should react, I mean, you can, but probably means because you can't predict. And that's what you should learn to do. So I know. The ego. But you're either going to want to learn how to do this or not. So there it is. Days like this, or weeks like this rather, just make it so easy. If you've been buying indices, you could have had like probably some garbage entries. But if you're on side, you're going to do okay. If you're on side, you're going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I know I've been saying this the last few streams, the last couple months. Being on side is more important than like the sniper entry. I mean, do you guys disagree? There's like roughly 50 of you on here, right? Do you disagree? Do you think it's better to get the sniper entries, or do you think it's better to just take decent trades or take good trades and be on side? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat for the members that are here. Do we agree or do we disagree, chat? Julia says good trades. Fernando says being on side is definitely the best. Yeah. Now getting a sniper entry while you're on side, yeah, that's pinnacle. But when it comes to your studies, when it comes to your journey as a trader, beginner, intermediate trader, that's what I would focus on. Getting on side, buying it when it's bullish, shorting it if it's bearish. Being on side and staying on side, right? Marshall said being on side is best, right? Being on side. On side. Sniper enters to the wrong side sucks, yeah. Yep, I agree. It basically makes that obsolete. You know? Obsolete. All right. Anyway, as far as price action goes, we'll watch it. We'll see what it does. I'm a little bit torn on what I wanted to talk about with you today. We can go over the inner game of tennis. We'll do that. I actually just printed off these notes, so we'll do that. Who can tell me, chat? Who can tell me what the successful traders trio is? What are the 3 things that a trader needs to be successful? What are the 3 things, chat? You can't have just 1 out of the 3. You can't have 2 out of the 3. You have to have all 3. It's like a tripod. It's like a tripod. Wow, Jordan, you're blocked. We don't do laziness over here. But I guess I'll let you today. Mason said edge, which is your strategy, risk management, psychology. Risk management, good edge, psychology. Okay. Risk management, I probably could do a lot better in teaching that, but I will tell you, if you have 1% risk per trade, if you have a max loss limit on the day and a max loss limit on the week, you're in a good place. There's more to it, but you're at least in a good place in the risk management department. It's simple. It's easy. And that at least takes care of most of that. I would say for most people, the next thing is going to be, like, the more complicated stuff is going to be the strategy, which I make it as simple as possible. Buying the liquidity, trade in that direction, right? The entry models, the mitigation models, you know, the market maker buy models and sell models. You know, we can simplify that as much as possible. I think the hardest part, the most difficult part for most people, I would say, is probably the psychology side. Do you guys agree or do you disagree? Drop some twos. Did we do twos already? I don't even think we did once. Okay, we'll just skip one today. Drop some twos in the chat if you guys think the psychology side, the discipline side, the patience side, if that is the hardest for you. You know how to manage risk. You have a good strategy, or you typically find yourself on side more than offside, like, or maybe you're 50-50, but you can see that you win more than you lose. So we're kind of working on it. But maybe the psychology side is the most difficult for you. You know, maybe you struggle with the fear of missing out, or getting in too early, or maybe even greed. I mean, that's kind of a risk management thing too, but maybe greed, maybe you over leverage. Can we agree that stuff is fairly difficult? I can agree. I can agree. So, The Inner Game of Tennis by W. Timothy Galway. This was recommended by Casper SMC, actually. And I've seen other people reference this book too. There was a YouTube video I started to watch the other day from Mark Manson. He's the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And he made like a video on a list of his top 20 favorite books or life-changing books or something like that. And this one was actually on there. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess this book is more popular than I had thought. I read it, I got it this year and read it this year. And I want to give you some notes from it. Is that cool? Can we do that? The inner game is the game that takes place in the mind of the player or the trader, and it is played against such obstacles as lapses in concentration, nervousness, self-doubt, and self-condemnation. Players of the inner game come to value the art of relaxed concentration above all other skills. Did you guys hear that? Players of the inner game come to value the art of relaxed concentration above all other skills. And I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, relaxed concentration, when done properly, has really, really boosted my trading. Some of the best trades I've ever taken were because of relaxed concentration. I didn't know it at the time, but I know it now. And I want to see if we can expand on this a little bit. Some of these are sentence fragments. They're not like full sentences because they're my personal notes. But what I have is, we are focused without trying to concentrate. We have an inner assurance that we can do what needs to be done without having to try hard. I actually misspelled one of these words in here, but that's okay. That we can do what needs to be done without having to try hard. What do you think that means? What do you guys think of when you hear that? Focus without trying to concentrate, and a inner assurance that we can do what needs to be done without having to try hard. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Mark Douglas and Paula Webb. I don't know if it was Trading in the Zone or Disciplined Trader, but one of them had this idea that traders the best traders are able to execute with an ease that boggles the minds of the majority of other traders. Like, they can enter and exit trades like easily, no hesitation, pure execution. It's not emotional. You know, they're acting in their best interest. Now, let me ask you guys this. Have y'all experienced that before? Drop some threes if you've experienced that before. Maybe you took a trade. It wasn't going your direction. It was kind of meandering around your entry, and you thought to yourself, okay, this probably isn't a good trade. I'm at break even. I'll just exit the trade and move on. And then you just exited the trade and moved on. And then the market maybe, you know, went in the direction of your stop loss. And then you went, wow, I avoided that loss. Has that ever happened? Drop some threes if that's happened for you. Jordan said gold last night. How does that make you feel, though? Does that make you feel like you did the right thing? Does that make you feel good inside? Like, wow, I saw what needed to be seen, and I did what needed to be done. And it almost like felt smooth, like some SEAL Team 6 breaching, you know what I mean? Just execute, no hesitation, or very little hesitation, you know, a couple seconds maybe, but pretty much just pure execution. He said indifferent. I just ate dinner and went to bed. Yeah, that's wild. But all right. 3, getting better at recognizing the loss less. I mean, that's just one scenario. I mean, it could be, hey, NQ is at the target we've been waiting for. You know, we should TP here. We should take partials here. And then bam, partial in. Unless you had a limit already there, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you see what needs to be done, you do it, and whether or not the market works out in that particular trade or not doesn't matter. What I'm talking about is just the ability to execute with little to no hesitation, because you know that's the right thing. Market makes a new high. Okay, now we can go break even, or now we can partial and go break even. And you just do it because if that's part of your plan, you just do it. I think that's kind of what I think of when I read something like this. Okay, the inner assurance that we can do what needs to be done without having to try hard. I gotta sneeze again. Hold on. Okay, moving on. You start to become what you think. Most of you know this already. I think it was Marcus Aurelius who said the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. It's in the Bible too. Whatever is beautiful, whatever is, you know, I forget the other words, but it's like basically focus on good things. Here's a good one. When the mind is free of any thought or judgment, it is still and acts like a mirror. Then, and only then, can we know things as they are. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when I've told you guys on more than one occasion that sometimes the best trades, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody, but at least for me, some of the best trades occur when I go into the marketplace without the expectation to trade. Have y'all ever done that before? Drop a 4 in the chat. We only had a couple threes. No problem. Drop a 4 in the chat if you've done that. You went into the marketplace. You're looking at your assets, whatever it is. Okay, Bitcoin, ugh. But indices, majors, whatever. And you went in with the idea that, you know what, I may not place a trade today. I might not trade, but I'll take a look. And then you were just open to the information, and then you found a really, really good setup, and then went, okay, I'm gonna take this. And then it ended up being a banger trade. Mason said every day. Yeah, pretty much. Now, with this week as the exception, because we already knew for the most part that we were bullish. So we already had that inclination that, okay, we're probably going to trade today. We're probably going to wait for lower pricing and then long. So, but I'd say most days, if we don't have a strong bias on a daily, we're just open to whatever happens. Whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? That's kind of like me on the road. I don't expect for open road because people drive slow as fuck. Okay? And they're doing 40 and a 45 in the fast lane. No problem. But sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'll get a stretch of road and it's straight and it's smooth and there's nobody around. I ain't gonna tell you what happens next, but I'm sure you can guess it. And we have a good time. But I don't expect that every time I go somewhere. You know what I mean? But when it happens, okay, cool. That's kind of that's very similar to the approach that I have. Again, with the exception of the last few days. If I don't have a bias on a higher time frame or whatever, then I'm simply just waiting patiently. I don't have to trade. Don't have to take a trade. When you're not forced to do something, right? Here's the thing. The more pressure you put on yourself, the worse you're likely to perform. Okay? So I know some people grew up playing sports or, you know, shit like wrestling or whatever. I never wrestled, but I know people do stuff like wrestling and all that. And people do put pressure on themselves to perform, you know, like putting a date on success. I still don't believe in that. Or let's say trying to pass a challenge, you know, within a couple days or a couple weeks or, you know, whatever it may be for you. That pressure is what causes you to make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? If it's too much pressure. When you are more relaxed, you're still in concentration mode, and that's what I'm saying. This is the art of relaxed concentration. Okay? You're focused without needing to be focused, or you're focused without trying to be, without trying too hard. You're just doing it. If a trade sets up, it sets up. If something doesn't set up, or maybe you just can't see it, then you don't see it, right? Because when we're open to interpretation, we're open for, hey, whatever happens, happens. If it gives us a mitigation, then it gives it to us. If it doesn't give it to us, then it doesn't. You know what I mean? And it look, oh my. A little bit of some finesse here going on. Okay, moving on. I'll give you guys a few more notes before we hop off here. Are you guys enjoying the stream so far? I don't think we had any fours in the chat. You guys suck. Drop some fours in the chat because they're having fun. Or at least learning something, or at least being able to get your gears turning a little bit. You know? We're talking about psychology here. We're talking about trading psychology here. Even though this has nothing to do, like, with strategy. Okay? This is literally a book about tennis. It's a book about tennis. Okay? I played tennis like one time. I don't like it. You know, it's tennis. I think it's bullshit, but the inner game I think is wonderful. Ending judgments means you neither add nor subtract from the facts before your eyes. Things appear as they are, undistorted. In this way, the mind becomes more calm. Now, even though these are notes, I think what he's referring to is like the performance that you had. I might be wrong, but that kind of goes hand in hand with what we just said a minute ago. When you don't have judgments, right? Value judgments, we talk about those. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. That's Shakespeare, inspired by one of the Stoics, right? So we don't have the value judgments. Price action is not good or bad, right? It's either up or down or consolidating. It's either going to reach for liquidity or reach for an inefficiency. Those are just facts. There's nothing good or bad about that. It just is. You see what I'm saying? Like price, it is what it is. It was what here's a good one for you. You don't have to write this down. It was what it was. It is what it is, and it will be what it will be, right? Golden information there. But anyway, it's just price action. That's why all my stuff is gray, or generally gray, right? Gray or white or black, right? Something to that effect, because it's just information, and information is neutral. It's us who then place those judgments on it. Well, I'm long and the market's going lower. That's bad. Not necessarily. It might be going lower to take stops and then go higher to your longer term TP. Right? See how we have a higher NQ here? That might mean something. Maybe. We'll have to find out. We need a few more candles to print. But, you know, it could be bad in the short term, good in the long term. You know what I mean? So if we end the value judgments, we can see things for what they are, not for what they want them to be. Let's be honest. When we're in a trade, we immediately put blinders on. If I'm long, I immediately, that's what immediately I'm going for. Oh, fuck. Well, you know, oh, that's a short-term low and we just rallied off of it. Okay, that's probably a stop run. And yeah, we're going to trade higher now. Well, you think we're going to trade higher because you're long. You're long. You know what I mean? Versus, like, let's say if you're short. Oh, well, if I'm short, well then, oh, this is an imbalance. I hope we hit that and trade lower. Right. It's the lens that we look at price action with. And that's one of the harder things to do, is look at it objectively. If you're long, and then entertaining the idea of shorts. Well, we did trade lower and we do have a mitigation here, and, you know, maybe it does hit this and go lower, and, you know, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to watch. That's hard for some people. But the point is trying to suspend those judgments and see price action for what it is. Because look at what we did this week, right? Look at what we did. We went to the daily. We outlined some high probability targets. Bam, went there. That's objectiveness. That's, you know, being able to see price for what it is, find something high probability, and go with that. It's not difficult. Okay? Once you know how to do it. The first inner skill to be developed in the inner game is that of non-judgmental awareness. That you can write down. The first inner skill to be developed in the inner game is non-judgmental awareness. Those two, if you write nothing down, at least write the last two words. Non-judgmental awareness. See things for what they are, not for what you want them to be. If you're bullish, yeah, you want the market to go higher. But you got to see if order flow confirms that. You know, are down candles being supported? Are inversions being supported? You know, is distribution turned accumulation? Yada, yada. You know what I mean? I guess I can give this to you. I only have like one sentence on chapter 4. Getting the clearest possible image of your desired outcome is a most useful method. I misspelled another word here. Of communicating with self too. Letting go of judgments, the art of creating images, and letting it happen are three of the basic skills involved in the inner game. Okay? So I'll say that last part again. Letting go of judgments, the art of creating images. Like, what is your desired outcome? Well, if we have, let's just go back to the higher time frame here. What is the images? Well, we're creating this image, this idea that, hey, we took a long-term low and we have upside. So we should start heading in that direction. And the picture is, at some point, I don't know if it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday or maybe even next week. I don't always know the day and the time, okay? But generally, we should hit those price levels, right? That's the desired outcome. Make sense? And then letting it happen. Okay, if we are going to do that, probably going to trade lower first. Let that happen to go higher. If we're going to go higher, probably going to go lower first. Let it happen and then go higher. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying, Chad? So we'll see what we do at this imbalance here. We have the same one on NQ right there. So where are we at? 12:53. Okay, we got a few more minutes. Chapter 5, Discovering Technique. There is no substitute for learning from experience. None. There is no substitute for learning from experience, which means you have to do this stuff on your own. You got to take the trades. You got to document. You got to reflect on your performance. All that stuff. Some of this stuff is tennis related, and I don't think it's going to help you. As you observe, certain things will stand out or come to the foreground of your attention spontaneously. Allow self to focus on elements that in its intelligence it might be ready to experiment with. In this regard, I think that subchapter was on watching other people do it, like play tennis, obviously, like watching pros play tennis. And I think this is a good one. Certain things will stand out or come to the foreground of your attention spontaneously. Equal highs and equal lows. Equal highs and equal lows. Market maker models. Consolidations. Does that happen for you guys? Drop some fives if you're at that point in your trading career. Obviously, if you do things this way, where you get to the charts and that's what you look for. You don't even look for it. Your eyes are just drawn to it. Immediately you open a chart and you go, oh yeah, those lows swept. Buy side liquidity, we already had it marked. But like, that's what you're looking for. You're like, oh yeah, bing, bang, boom. Imbalances, inversions, market maker models. You're starting to see stuff. It just jumps out at you at this point. The funniest part is this shit is hidden to everybody else. It's there. We all see the same charts, the same price action, essentially. But we have different colors, probably maybe different time frames, different focus, and we have a different idea on what actually moves price, right? But it's all the same thing. It's all just open, high, low, close in time. But we view it differently. And that's the thing, right? When you learn certain concepts like liquidity, manipulation, stuff like that, you start seeing it, it starts jumping out at you. That's when it becomes obvious. You know what I mean? So allow that to happen. That won't happen if you try too hard. Well, is that equal highs or is it not? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Listen, if it's not obvious, don't do it. If it's not obvious to you, if you're trying to form fit a concept or a framework or whatever, if it's not clean and obvious to you, then it's probably not it. Okay? Test me on that. Test the market on that. You try to force a mitigation. I dare you. Don't do it with live money, but I dare you to try to force concepts that aren't there and see how that works out for you. We'll do a couple more. Oh, here's a good one. In learning how to learn by watching pros play, you may want to alternate between external observation and experimentation, right? Part of your journey should be learning. That's what you're doing here, right? You're learning from me, maybe other YouTubers, maybe some books. I fucking hope you're learning from books. I hope so. If not, you're wrong. Right? You're observing, or maybe you're observing price action without actually taking a trade. No problem with that either. I'm an advocate for that. But eventually you got to get your toes wet. Eventually you got to start placing trades, whether a real account, whether a demo account, whether a prop account or a challenge or whatever. You have to alternate between, okay, well, I've learned about the mitigation model. I've learned about manipulation and price targets and stuff like that. And this is great. I'm learning stuff. But learning stuff without applying it, that ain't it. Okay? That's not it. It's useless at that point. If you know how to trade, but don't trade, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm pretty sure my book's still on Amazon. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know. I haven't checked in years. I don't really care, honestly. I think that might be okay. We'll do one or two more. All right. Chapter 6, changing habits. You know what? Watch this. You want to talk about making connections? Watch this. The Bible. Here we go. Right. Some of you, oh God, here we go. The Bible, The Inner Game of Tennis, and Mastery by Robert Greene. 3 utterly random books. Do you think? Mastery by Robert Greene, The Inner Game of Tennis, and the Bible. Do you think those are related at all? All 3 of those books, they talk about a return to this childlike way. Test me on that. Go ask ChatGPT. See if I'm blowing smoke up your ass. The inner game way of learning is a return towards this childlike way. When you are a child, okay, you're curious. You're asking questions. You're exploring, right? You're probably coloring outside the lines. If you're like, obviously like 2 or 3 years old and you just, whatever. But you're curious because you don't know anything. So you're trying to figure stuff out. You're learning how to walk. You're learning how to navigate the house or the place that you live in. You're figuring out how to communicate. We all suck at communicating when we're young. We can't form complete sentences. Then we start learning a word or two. Hungry, or whatever. Pizza rolls, I don't know. Something. And then we start to form sentences and stuff like that. I'm hungry, can I get something to eat or whatever. And the Bible, Robert Greene, and this guy talk about returning to this childlike way. By means of, hey, you are learning a new skill that you really don't know anything about. But if you're not open to learning, you're cooked, right? Epictetus, we say this all the time. Epictetus, it's impossible for a man to think or to learn what he thinks he already knows. You have to be open for learning. You have to return to that childlike way of wanting to explore, wanting to figure things out, and being open for whatever happens. Whatever you learn is what you learn. Right? When I read these books, I don't know what's in them, but I'm still going to read it and figure out what it's saying. And I'm hopefully in this childlike way of, what can I learn that's new? What can I learn that's different? You know what I mean? And I do learn new things. Even at 31 years old. I'm probably going to stay this way forever. You know what I mean? So hopefully that's enough for today. We can continue on this tomorrow. I mean, it's Wednesday, right? I don't fucking know what day it is. We can continue this on Friday if you like. But okay, no. I'll give you one more. Can we do that? I don't want to end it on that. I want to give you one more. Drop a 6 if you guys want one more note, if that's what it's called. These are notes, right? So it'll be another note, I guess. You guys want one more? Drop a 6 in the chat if you want one more idea before we break until Friday. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate that. I am grateful for you as well. Quick look on dollar. Yeah, it's bearish. I looked at dollar earlier. It's bearish overall. Okay. This was chapter 6. Okay. 1 second, chat. I don't remember where it was in the book, but what he talks about, this childlike way. A child, if they have a bad habit, okay, and James Clear talks about this too in Atomic Habits. If you haven't read Atomic Habits, you're wrong. Go read it. It is much more difficult to break a habit when there is no adequate replacement for it. It is much more difficult to break a habit when there is no adequate replacement for it. So that means you need better habits. Every time an action is performed, a slight impression is made in the microscopic cells of the brain. When the same action is repeated, the groove is made slightly deeper. So what does that tell you? That means if you have a bad habit, nice job, Alberto. If you have a bad habit, have you ever noticed that you keep doing it? Y'all ever notice that? Y'all ever notice that? Like, okay, matter of fact, I'll humble myself. I don't care. Look at the curse words, right? Look at the curse words. I keep telling you guys, like, hey, look, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And I am. But I've been cursing for a long time, Chad. Yet, I'm working on it. And every couple streams, like, yeah, I do really well. But sometimes I keep coming back to the F words, right? And whatever else I say. I don't know half the stuff I say half the time, but I keep coming back to that, right? Why do you think that is? If you over leverage, if you over trade or revenge trade, like whatever it is for you specifically that you struggle with, why is it that you keep doing it? It's because you've made it a habit. You've ingrained that into your brain. The same way that I've ingrained cursing into my language. It sucks. I wish I hadn't done that. You know what I mean? We have to find replacements for those bad habits. If you overtrade, maybe it's because you spend too much time in front of the charts. Maybe hop off the charts after a couple trades or after a certain time. You know, lunch is coming up and you don't usually trade lunch. Well, then hop off the charts. Because the longer you look for trades, the more likely you are going to try and place a trade. You're going to try and justify something. You see what I'm saying? Replace that habit with something else. So that, I think, is a good note to end it on. I lied. One more. It is a painful process to fight one's way out of deep mental grooves. It's like digging yourself out of a trench, but there is a natural and more childlike method. A child doesn't dig his way out of his old grooves. He simply starts new ones. He simply starts new ones. So whatever your bad habit is, replace it with something else. If you overtrade and you just can't seem to get over that, why not just take a couple real trades or a couple funded trades or whatever, and then just go switch to demo. Take trades on demo all you want. So at least your bad habit's not going to wreck your real money or your funded account. You see what I'm saying? That may not be the best method, but you get it though? You have to find a replacement for the habit that you have. For some people, being on the charts less often works for them. Some people perform better by taking less trades. That's fine. So if you, like, let's say you watch charts for 2 hours a day, but it's too much, and you'd rather be on the charts for 30 minutes. So now you've got an hour and a half of time you may not know what to do with. Okay, replace that time with something else, like reading or touching grass or video games or, I don't know, watching my YouTube channel maybe. I don't know. You get me? So hopefully this has been a decent stream for you. I don't really have anything else. The psychology portion of trading is difficult, but only you can tell you what you struggle with. Thank you, Nick, or Nicholas. Can I call you Nick? It's just easier. After like 2 to 3 hours, I hop off as my results show that I trade better when I'm not on after 10:30 to 11. Right, that's my point. It's kind of like Fridays. If you look at your results and out of the last 10 Fridays, 8 of those Fridays are red and only 2 Fridays are green, bro, stop trading Friday. That's one of the mental models, right? We can do better by doing less wrong. Sometimes you don't need more wins. You need less losses. If you can make $500, but you lose $500, you don't need to make 1,000. You need to make 500 and lose like 200. You see what I'm saying? In probably a lot of cases. So we have to figure out how to keep doing what's right, do more of what's right, and identify and do less of the stupid shit. We can't eliminate bad trades. We can't eliminate losses. We can't do that. Okay? But we can limit how much we lose. And we can try our best and not lose too often by limiting our amount of trades. You see what I'm saying? So we are simultaneously minimizing the downside while maximizing upside. And doing that, you will do well. Okay? It didn't take very long for me to get in the top 6% of that TradingView trade station fucking thing. It did not take long. It took like a couple trades, okay? Now, mind you, yeah, this is paper. It's not real. It's, you know, it's not really a brag, honestly. It's not. But look, I shared that earlier. I took a couple trades at 13%, right? 13% gain. I think it's been going on for a week or two, maybe a little bit longer. I don't actually know. But just with 13%, that's top 6 of the competition. It's that easy. It's that simple. The execution is the hard part. The discipline is the hard part. The patience is the hard part. And there's 54 of you on here. Each one of us has our own journey. We each struggle with different things, more so than others, right? And you have to figure out what that is, and then you have to attack it. Okay? So, one step at a time. I gave you a lot to think about today. And I would hope that you took notes and think about that the next few days going into this holiday season. Okay? So with that, y'all be good, be blessed. That is the name of the book if you want to go buy it and read it. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis by W. Timothy Galloway. Okay? I shared this on my YouTube already. I've shared this on Instagram multiple times. I just shared it again. Y'all be good. Be blessed. That's right. Have a good Thanksgiving too, if you celebrate that. I know some people might not celebrate it. That's fine. So, see you guys on Friday.